Meta, the parent company of Facebook, is facing an internal revolt over Mark Zuckerberg's changes to the platform that he made after meeting with President-elect Donald Trump. All right, so many employees at Meta are saying this will increase the amount of abuse faced by LGBTQ plus people. And this is according to internal conversations obtained by 404 Media, interviews with 5 current employees. Now, the changes, of course, were part of a larger shift. Mark Zuckerberg announced on Monday to ingratiate himself with Donald Trump. They're going to do less content moderation. They're going to bring back political topics to the Meta platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. Now, of course, some of those changes, or I should say a lot of those changes, is basically allowing right-wingers to be horrible towards LGBTQ plus people. For example, calling them mentally ill. So that's allowed to kind of stigmatize them and discriminate against them, right? Now, here's the thing. I thought Zuck said that these changes were about allowing more free speech on the platform, right? No, it turns out they're just going to allow for people to attack gay and trans people more. Yeah. And like a lot of their content moderation, it's unevenly handled. Okay. And so, again, it's basically, it's a mess. It's a disaster. Now, a review of Meta's official content moderation policies show, according to 404 Media, specifically that some of the only substantive changes to the policy were made to specifically allow for allegations of mental illness or abnormality when based on gender or sexual orientation. Now, the current medical consensus is that no, that being a member of the LGBTQ plus community is not a sign of mental illness. But once again, the right wing likes to use that language to stigmatize members of the LGBTQ community, to not take them seriously, things like that. Now, and by the way, also to use it to discriminate against people. I mean, that's the other thing with, for example, the rhetoric on homelessness, right? The homeless are mentally ill. Well, that's a way to stigmatize them and discriminate against them, and not actually address like the big problem with homelessness is the fact that people cannot afford homes, can't afford to live anywhere anymore. Rents that go up. In fact, you've had about 6 companies that hold millions of rental units across the country being sued by the DOJ for colluding to raise rents. So, I mean, you've got that. That's part of our homelessness crisis. But once again, you talk to a lot of people and they're like, oh, the homeless people are just mentally ill. And that's it. They don't actually want to be in homes. They want to be out on the street. Are you nuts? No, they don't. It's insane. But again, a way to discriminate, stigmatize, and ultimately refuse to help them, because they always say things like, oh, yeah, mental illness, right? Yeah, they're mentally ill. Oh, do you want to fund mental illness then? Make it so that it's free to get help? Oh, no. F you. You communist? What's wrong with you?
Pink-haired communist.
No, I'm not going to pay for that. Oh, okay. Well, that's just a way for you to avoid actually helping out other people. That's lovely. That's it. That's great. Now, to get back to these employees at Meta, current and former, one of them said in their internal chat program, since I'm considered mentally ill on this platform, I might as well get some paid time off to look after my mental health. I'm paraphrasing on that one. Another thread on Meta's internal workspace site that has several hundred comments and more than 1,000 reactions reads this. And this is verbatim here. Feedback, sexual orientation, and gender as a mental illness. I'd appreciate some more detail on how the decision was made to update the policy, particularly given this does not reflect any mainstream scientific consensus. Well, as if they care about that, honestly.
Just forget about the evidence.
All right. Particularly, okay, how the policy reflects our values and perspectives as a company, and whether these are different to the values we've expressed in the past. Who, if any, LGBT groups, internal or external, were consulted as part of this change? A member of the policy team told employees in the thread that our core values have not changed. Really? The changes to our hateful conduct policy seek to undo the mission creep that has made our rules too restrictive for whom? And too prone to over-enforcement. Reaffirming our core value of free expression means that we might see content on our platforms that people find offensive. Yesterday's changes not only open up conversation about these subjects, but allow for counter-speech on what matters to users. Ah, yes. You know what? I could tell you one thing. Meta's core values have definitely not changed. What do I mean? Well, their core value has always been making money. That's it. And look, Facebook is enormous. I think there's something more 3 billion people that use it. With a base that big, obviously there's going to be a significant amount of people on that platform who have a bigoted point of view, right? And so Zuck looks at this and goes, that's potential money that we're banning from the platform here. Well, I don't want to do that. These are people that I want to take their personal information and sell it to third-party groups and monetize the hell out of them. I don't want to ban them. Plus, if I do that, then the right wing's going to yell at me. And they've already been yelling at me the whole time, and now Donald Trump's going to be president. He's going to yell at me. I don't want that. I just want to make money. That's it. That's it. So, obviously, Zuck made this decision based on, hey, the right wing's in power. I mean, the electorate just elected Donald Trump and a Republican Congress. And there's been right-wing movements that have been very successful all across the world. So, yeah, of course we're going to kiss the ass. They're in power now. And they can help us make more money. It shows you exactly who Zuck is and the rest of these ass kissers. Okay? That said, these employees were generally shocked and genuinely, and I kind of feel bad for them because they had no idea. They had no idea. 5 current Meta employees spoke to 404 and said that many Meta employees are just furious about the changes. It's total chaos internally at Meta right now, said one. The entire thread of comments shared its dissent towards the new policy, save for one leader repeating Zuckerberg talking points, because of course, right? I'd call the mood shock and disbelief. It's an embarrassment and shame that feels self-inflicted, different than mistakes the company has made in the past. No one is excited or happy about these changes, and obviously the employees who are identified as being part of the LGBTQ plus community are especially unhappy and feel the most unsupported in this, another employee told 404. Another said a small number of people are taking time off and are sharing that they are considering leaving the company due to this change, which I'm sure doesn't bother Zuckerberg or any of the board members at all, including Dana White, who's an alleged wife beater. So yeah, he's part of the board. Another employee, a third one, told 404, morale of fellow queer employees is in the absolute shitter. Surprising no one. Well, yeah. Other comments include, I find it very hard to understand how explicitly carving out which groups of marginalized people can have what we otherwise classify hate speech directed at them will be beneficial for the communities we hope to build on our platforms. I mean, imagine saying that about conservatives, right? Some of the stuff that they throw at, the gay community, trans community, saying that about conservatives. You probably get banned on Facebook. But apparently, go after gay and trans people, totally fine. You can do that. Now, another says this change is unacceptable on all levels. Someone went into this policy and not only removed protection, they actually doubled down and made it explicitly okay. Absolutely wild. Another said, I cannot begin to fathom why we think this is acceptable or helpful to our community and our company's mission. I've never felt so strongly that we're on the wrong side of history. This is going to cause so much harm. Please consider this change. Another said, appalling. I think it's clear that the policy team is not open to any feedback here and is committed to an ideological project that sacrifices some of our communities in order to achieve their goal. Just call me a T-word, T-slur, and close the discussion here. At least it would be honest. And honesty is not something that apparently internal Facebook is good at. All right? In fact, one said that they couldn't find any internal discussion about how the new changes were made. Normally, they'd, get together. There'd be back and forth, apparently, at the company, groups, people getting together and discussing these policy changes, right? Now, apparently, that did not happen here. And a lot of people were like, wait, what's going on? We usually discuss this. This just came right from the top, right from Zuck himself and the board members. In fact, one asks, did we miss a policy forum where we could all hear the results of any research supporting this change and opinions of all? No, of course not. Another said, I looked for one, couldn't find it either. Another complained about the lack of any employee input on these changes and said, at the very least, Meta should be able to tell company employees why it is now acceptable to call a large number of them mentally ill or refer to them as property or refer to them as it. So, one specific example is, trans people are not men or women. They're just its. Total dehumanizing language, right? That is now completely acceptable on the platform. And another is calling women property. You just refer to a woman as your property now. And Facebook's like, A-okay. Congratulations. That's great. But once again, what do you expect when you have a Trump ally, a member of the board of directors? Okay? That's your answer. Tells you everything you need to know. Meeting at Mar-a-Lago with Trump. I mean, come on. They do not care. To them, to the board, to the shareholders, to Zuck himself, it's all about monies. It's the monies. Doesn't matter if they abandon their LGBTQ employees. They can just get others. Who cares? Never cared about them anyway. That's what I'm seeing here. That's the overall view. Look, everybody knows this is going to 100% increase hateful speech and dehumanizing language. It's already started. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it, and that's why the right wing is super happy about it. Apparently. I mean, I don't know. I can't really tell the difference between a right-winger that is super happy and a right-winger that is super angry because they all act the same. They're still just throwing out random insults. Okay, all right, well, there you go. I mean, they should be happy because they got everything they want. I mean, you get to call people horrible names online with zero consequences. No bans, nothing. And hey, if those people that you're harassing end up harming themselves as a result, that's okay. You're going to feel good about it because that's who you are. And we know who you are. We know who and what you are. And we know that it was never about freedom of speech. No. We know that the entire time it was always about spreading hate. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.